expecting quite a good show coming out from the side of Impunity.
Yeah, definitely. They should, as the top team, they should be expected to win, so there'll be quite a lot of pressure on them to perform. But without further ado, draft is ready, so we are going to go into the draft.
The draft begins.
Now, I wouldn't be surprised if we see similar bans to before, maybe lots of emphasis on Lyra, and we might see emphasis on Baron, but he generally doesn't get banned first pick because there are quite a lot of Baron counters that are there. We saw the Crystal Ringo composition try and counter it. Obviously, Idris is very strong at countering Baron, and they are going to ban away the Lyra, so they just don't want to play it, and Lyra being probably the most meta healer, slightly more reliable heal than Grace, just be banned away straight away, so they don't have to worry about that.
Yep, definitely. I'm not surprised if the second ban coming out from the side of Impunity would actually be that of Baron, because, it's actually Vox. Vox is one of those heroes that we've seen quite a lot of banning for this patch, or rather for this current split.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of emphasis on Vox. Teams really like to pick him. It's probably because Vox being very strong for a lot of patches in a row has made teams very comfortable on Vox, so they know how strong he is, they know when to play and really how to position. Catherine being picked up, Catherine's a strong captain, and they want to make sure that if Baron is first picked now, they've already set up their counters to it. And we do see the emphasis on Skye picked up just to counter that Catherine, because Skye very likely to be banned away, and there is the Baron. So the two main carries being banned away with Idris still available, it could be forcing Impunity into a position where, forcing Eanix into a position where they don't want to be, where they do not have a carry who is strong in the current meta. But of course, they could go lane Glaive is really good at countering Idris if they do decide to go for Idris straight away.
Yeah, but I mean, with the second ban for the side of Eanix, they are still thinking of what to ban, but there are not a lot of ban-worthy heroes, barring from Grumpjaw, Glaive, and Grace. So I'm expecting these three heroes to be banned out for the side of Eanix. And actually, Idris will be banned out. So I'm not surprised to see a Black Feather being picked up for the side of Impunity, or just a Black Feather alone is quite a strong pick, unless of course they are going to go off meta and pick up that Ringo or Gwen.
Yeah, I think they're going to get their captain now, just pick up an Arden, maybe Grace. I'd love to see a bit of Grace, just because they were probably going to first pick Idris. That was why it was banned away, because he hasn't got many counters, and even then Idris can still do extremely well into some of his counters. So I think they'll just pick up a captain and wait for the picks from Eanix to see if they can counter it. And so with Arden, I'd like to see a Batiste being picked up. I doubt they will, but I'd love to see that. And then whatever laner they want, Kestrel's an extremely strong laner, and they might go for Gwen or Ringo if they prefer that. But I think Kestrel Batiste would be a good combination.
Yep, definitely. I mean, Kestrel and Batiste is rather meta right now at this point in time. I'm actually, although you said that, they are going to pick a captain out and then just wait for the opposing team to pick, but then they are picking a captain out just so early into the draft, or rather when so many carries are really down, your weapon carries are already down. I personally would just pick out a carry, and then because you have your third choice, and then a lot of roamers out there can actually be a definitive counter to a carry.
Oh, Eanix going for the composition which I like to see. It's going to be a Protect the Celeste comp. Seeing the Catherine, and then I'm pretty sure they weren't expecting a Lance picked up immediately. So that's going to probably be a weapon Lance in the jungle and a lane Crystal Celeste. We've seen a lot of Celeste played recently. With the Skye being picked up, it means they can't really go Taco. You don't want to go Skye Taco, because that forces either a weapon Taco, which doesn't really counter Celeste, or weapon Skye, which isn't very strong in the meta at the moment. So there aren't that many weapon power heroes to dive on Celeste. They could go for somebody like Weapon Power Ozo. Not going to pick it though, because he's so far out of the meta. I'd love to see a Weapon Power Grumpjaw here. Weapon Power Grumpjaw would be really good into this if he can get on top of the Celeste and eat her up, or even eat away Catherine or Arden. Catherine or Lars on to try and protect Celeste.
Yep, definitely. Oh, but they are actually opting for that Glaive. I'm not surprised to see if this Glaive is being played in lane, because it is one of the more meta picks, because I'm pretty sure this Celeste will be played in lane, and if zoning properties wise, Celeste would definitely win throughout the game. But then it's just a gang potential together with that of Sky, and then Arden and Glaive coming out from the side of Impunity is just insane. But overall, I'm really liking the team coming up from the side of Eanix simply because it is almost as if they've outdrafted the side of Impunity and outdrafted well indeed. With that Idris banned out, it just makes Impunity not able to pick out any other better carries per se. Because I mean, if you are going to pick up that Gwen, then Gwen is kind of off meta. You have your early game, but then your late game, you kind of fall off really, really badly. So I'm really liking the team coming out from the side of Eanix as compared to that of Impunity. But then again, it all goes down to execution, whether or not Lance and Catherine can pill successfully for Celeste.
Yeah, Impunity kind of drafted away their laners. They probably expected to either get the Idris or leave the Idris open to be countered by that Glaive. Lane Glaive doing so well against Idris in the early game. You just can constantly afterburn him out of position, and then you can just pick up a kill because he can't get his barrier from Shroud Step if you afterburn correctly. I think Eanix definitely have a superior draft, but that's only if they can pull off the composition correctly. Because if Kirchhoff manages to land the afterburn onto Trophies, with Lance and Catherine, you haven't got any peel to get Celeste away like a Arden Vanguard would, whereas they do have the appeal to try and stop Glaive and Sky diving on top of Celeste, which is a bit hard to do, especially against the Glaive with an afterburn. So yes, it's going to be all about how well they can execute this, and it looks like Trophies is actually going to be hyper farm, taking most of Lance's jungle away from him.
Yeah, I'm not surprised if they actually go with that strat, and with that, Lance is definitely going to go for the aftershock tension bow aftershock Lance, the on-hit Lance. And then, you know, just basically the on-hit Lance, he doesn't require a lot of farm to work out to his fullest potential. So I'm not surprised if they are going to hyper farm Trophies up into the late game, because Celeste do need the levels and do need items, but then levels more important than items. Like we saw recently, there's always been Celeste being placed in jungle.
And Celeste is dead. After Glaive, she's going to get the core collapse off. Kirchhoff's using using the split boots there to just make sure. And a nice Nephews going very low, so it's Mortifier. Nice damage by You Die on this Lance. I'd be expecting Tension Bow and Aftershock would make sense, but I also wouldn't be surprised if he actually decides to go for Solar Blade to go actually weapon power instead of going for on hit, because if he goes the Solar Blade option, he basically forces armor, or else he's going to do a lot of damage. But if he goes on hit, his damage will just fall off when Celeste is strongest in the late game. And Celeste just going to be farmed up nicely, get some ambient with Lance, and now going to rotate back up to lane, while Glaive didn't actually pick up the mid tree, but they are quite far ahead in gold, mainly because of that first blood that did go over to Glaive.
Yeah, but then again, I agree with that. If he actually do go for the on-hit Lance, then he would just be acting as a peel for that Celeste, and not just being the damage dealer itself. I mean, Protect Celeste comp, it's one of the toughest comp to execute per se, because firstly, you need your Celeste to go up all the way to level 8. Secondly, your Celeste really needs to farm up. And of course, I mean, they are doing that. They are trying to hyper carry that of Celeste at this point in time. That's why I think that, you know, the Lance, the on-hit Lance would be the more viable build for Lance to go for right now, as compared to that of Sorrow Blade. But we are actually seeing a 16th being picked up and then 2 Weapon Blade. So I'm not surprised if he's going to go full weapon carry.
Yeah, because as I said, the on here is really good for peel, but it will just fall off, and it means they don't have to buy defense on you. And if you can just make it so they can go full damage with 1 Aegis to counter your hyper carry, then you could be in trouble. But if you force them to build Aegis and metal, and force them to build a metal jacket on the hero that hasn't got the farm, then that will really turn out a lot better for Celeste. And actually, Trophies has picked up tier 2 travel boots as his pretty much his first item. We're 3 minutes in, and he's already got that. Just really wanted to stay away from the Glaive, and being able to just boots out and have high movement speed to try and dodge out the afterburn that's going to come out.
Yeah, it's quite interesting to see because both teams, they have really good gang potential. I mean, just I agree you die on this lance. You've got your Impale, and you can chain it with Catherine's Merciless Pursuit into Truffy's Core Collapse. Problem with that, they don't have the displacement. I mean, they have a lot of CCs for the late game, especially when after Catherine gets a level 6, then you know the CCs that's going to be coming up from the side of Eanix, it would just be insane. But then the side of Popeyes, the side of Impunity, I'm sorry, has got one thing going for them, and that is the zoning properties of Arden's Gauntlet, and of course, you know, the mobility that provided by Arden's Vanguard and that of Sky as well. So whether or not, you know, oh, Lance is actually going to go for the tension bow expected earlier on. So I'm not surprised at all. I mean, Tension Bow has been picked up on a lot of weapon carries so far because of its initial burst damage, and that because there is a lot of early game squishies at this point in time, currently in the meta at least. But then we have Kerchows just building and going for the Sorrow Blade, so Kerchows will definitely out damage.
And that is definitely going to get impaled up. But I argue guys going very low on this lance. No defense with the Tension Bow. Lava Monkey has not got a fountain, but Cordovar has to pop his, so that will be Eanix backing off. They probably didn't realise the fountain was available for Arden, but not for their own captain. So Captain's just going to nip down shop and pick one up there. Celeste, first item is Journey Boots. Truffy's just deciding that I don't need to do damage yet. I'm not going to try and fight in the mid game. I'm just try and farm up, try and get my items, and just be able to run away from this glaive and from this sky. So it does make sense. Journey Boots, if you don't need energy, which is clearly deciding he's going to go for maybe 2 energy items, maybe a Clockwork and an Eve of Harvest, so that he doesn't need to get the House of Charges. And that's argued going to be caught out. He will have his combat roll up soon, and the fountain will be popped by Weapon Monkey. Just Impunity just wanting to force that one out, so that if they fight within the next minute, it is not up. The gold lead is, again, just the 300-400 gold gained from that first blood. Kershov's is in lane. Truffy is going to not quite split up. They're not having them to Death Cube with just that Heavy Prism and Eclipse Prism with another crystal bit. Doing really well. Truffy's showing that Death Cube's need to get defense. And Death Cube's actually got Journey Boots as well. We're seeing both carries going Journey Boots first item before they've even picked up 2 tier 2 items.
Yeah, I mean it's not commonly seen, but then there was this patch in Southeast Asia where the meta is actually just going for a tier 3 boot as first item, as the first pickup, because that increases your mobility. But then as a pickup on Celeste, it's kind of questionable because Celeste in itself as a hero, she doesn't have quite a lot of mobility because you have to stand there to cast your stars, your heliogenesis after all. So, that's a fail impale from I Angry You Die, probably hoping for a gang or just checking the brush with an impale. Rubber Monkey, they might actually be posturing for a fight right now.
Yeah, being the flare, just to flare out the bush, make sure there's no glaive waiting to impale to afterburn his Celeste. And yep, Truffy's doing well on CS. 84 CS, obviously having taken a little bit of Lance's jungle, but Lance is actually ahead of a glaive. So it looks like both teams are going for the hyper carry Celeste versus hyper carry Sky, and so Celeste doing slightly better at farming up and keeping her Lance at bay. Celeste's going to get a lot of damage. She knows that Cordovar's there, but FQ is actually at the back with Kerchov, so that'll be a half health turret once Celeste pops that Helio. So not the best rotation from Impunity there.
Yeah, definitely. But then give it just. Oh, Kerchov is going
to get the upburn, and there will be a death above the zone out. He's going to try and use the Journey Boots. He's going to have to run towards individuals. Nice Cork up, getting the double start onto the 2 carries. He's going to start the Solar Storm, but will not finish it off. That is on cooldown for another minute while he did die while casting that ability, and that will be the Impale not quite landing onto Cordovar, but there was this nice last jump from Catherine stopping Death Cube from doing anything. Going to combat well, he can probably get a kill on Kerchov here. Afterburn is not up for another 9 seconds. That is a double kill for Iron You Die. Definitely going to port home on a slither of health. 1 Impale would do it, but that will be a turret and 2 kills going over to Eanix.
Yep, I really think even in the early game, the side of Eanix just drafted so much better, and that could possibly carry them into the later game as well. Just looking at the turret would actually be falling here, although Sky is just trying his hardest or her hardest. to protect it. But just look at the build itself. We have I Agree You Die possibly going into a Sorrow Blade after Attention Bow pickup, definitely going into a Sorrow Blade after Attention Bow pickup, and then you have Kerchhoffs just sitting and probably going into a Breaking Point. Looking at items wise, and also CS wise, we have Travis sitting on 97 CS, and then we have DevQ early on actually just falling by 10 or so CS, but has finally caught up. But then I Agree You Die, like you said, is actually doing so much better in terms of CS as compared to Kerchhoffs, although both of the teams are trying to hyper farm their carries.
Yes, let's now with that level 8 can just stay and farm so much further out. Kerchhoffs is going to have such a hard job to land a good afterburn at this point. Celeste is going to there's scoring it down on Trophy with no block. He's going to try and walk out of it. Afterburn not quite going to land. The guy's doing a lot of damage to Papa and then go full before even popping Bouncing on Crucible, and that will be a block on the core collapse from Celeste. If he wants to go in, Kerchhoffs taking a lot of poke. Trophies has got an Eve of Harvest, so he'll be able to stay quite well. Angry Die trying to block. That will be an afterburn, not quite wanting to connect to the right person. Angry Die is going to fall here. Solar Storm is going to land on the Kerchhoff. Nephew going to boots to try and kill the Celeste. Celeste still with the Eve of Harvest. Is not low on energy and will be able to sustain even if they get some damage on her. So Impunity backing off. They got the 2 kills. They're happy with that. Not going to be able to get any more into this Celeste. I really like the Eve of Harvest first. It looks like it'll be Broken Myth second. Struffies finds out DevQ, a little low on energy. Going to try and Sewage Track away. Core Collapse will not quite land. Buff Monkey and Struffies trying to get him away with that Journey Boots, constantly having it off cooldown as long as he gets a little bit of poke onto someone. So good fight for Impunity, but they don't really win anything for it. Just Eanix going to rotate down, try and steal some jungle away.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at goal difference, it is 700 in favor of that of Eanix. And I personally think the late game potential coming out from the side of Impunity is much more greater as compared to Celeste. Granted, Celeste has got that poke when she's level 8 and she's already level 9. So just look at the team comp itself. I personally think that Impunity has got the late game. But then, of course, I'm not discounting the fact that they have a Celeste, they have a Catherine that would just get tankier in the late game, but it's really just down to DevQ and his positioning, how he's going to just go into the back lines and take out Celeste before Celeste can poke them down.
There's an infusion on Trophies, and there's 2 infusions for Impunity, but there's not one on Sky, so they're not in a really good position to fight. Quartervar picking up a level 6 infusion when none of these guys the gauntlet's not going to land, but it's going to be punted into. Trophies in a horrible position. Going to Journey Boots away. Land onto the Ardent, and Celeste is trying to get the poke. Eve of Harvest keeping her nice and healthy. Solar Storm going to get a lot of damage on the Ardent, but not quite to DevQ. And Argue going to try and get some poke, only going to land onto the minions. Trophy's just going to try and farm up, get some poke. DevQ not in the best position. Quartervar is going quite low. Supernova won't quite connect, and Kerchhoff is going to take some poke there. From that Supernova, Trophies again up to full health thanks to that Eve of Harvest. Started with a 4 Mist stacks, trying to stop Quartervar with the teleport. Getting a little bit greedy. Can't imagine somebody getting greedy when they try and teleport home. And that will be Trophies again full health because that Eve of Harvest. DevQ's going to try and steal away the mid, but will not happen. And I think the fact that DevQ went for Shatterglass Broken Myth and Celeste went Eve of Harvest Broken Myth just means that Celeste has so much more sustain in her kit, and DevQ, if DevQ lands the 4th barrage, it will kill Trophies, but that would have happened anyway even without getting a Shatterglass first. So in this particular comp I don't think Shatterglass first was right for Sky, even though generally it is a better option.
Yeah,
and yeah, the infusion from Trophies just with DevQ not having one pretty much won that team fight for them.
Yeah, I mean, it is definitely the superior option as compared to the Frostburn in the early game, but in these conditions, in this particular team setup, I don't think it is a good choice. I'd rather DevQ actually just go for the Frostburn instead of that of Shatterglass into Broken Myth. He's going to build into a Clockwork at this point in time, so the amount of damage coming out from the side of DevQ would be insane. Travis is just dropping a lot of Helios, just preparing and just hoping to poke out the enemy teams. But then we saw something. A lot of the initiation, it just falls on Kerchhoffs, followed by a proper gauntlet, a really good gauntlet down by Quarter 4 for them to actually win the fight. Oh, they are actually taken down low by a Supernova, but they are just going to back off at this point in time. So
yeah,
a lot of engage will be down to Kerchhoffs and all of his afterburn and how well he lands those very crucial afterburns. I mean,
is the gauntlet going to be thrown down, and that is going to be open to the gold mine. One Monkey's going to walk through. Going to try and steal this, and Gomez picked up by Celeste with that Supernova, and that is a massive 0 over the the block is going to come out on the blast from Catherine. Nephew going to try and run away. Angry Udai going to get as much damage as he can. He's going to probably full lovely block to keep him alive. Truffy's still full health. Has not got Solar Storm yet. And that was a good engage from Eanix there. The gauntlet from Arden was not great. Don't think it quite stunned Celeste out. He just got Catherine stuck inside, but Catherine just walked out without problem. And Truffy's, as I said, he went for the journey boots first, which did imply he was going to go double sustain items. So he did go for the even harvest and the clockwork to give him as much energy sustain as possible without having to counter charges. So I do like the fact that he went for that. In his first 3 items, 2 of them are energy regen items, so that because if Celeste hasn't got any energy, she's going to die and she can't do any damage. It's not the best position to be in. And Kurtov's going to try and pick up his tree, and Agudai is going to try and steal it, and we'll not quite get it. But
yeah, I mean, just looking at the team fight earlier on, both Quartervore had to burn like both of his items, whereas on the side of Eanix, because of the damage coming out from the side of from trophies, there is no need for them to burn either Crucible or even that of Fountain, which would give them like a 1-up, because if in the early fight and Quartervore already has to burn all of his important roaming and tank items, utility items, then really if the fight actually goes on, and like you said, Trophies has the sustain to continue the fight, I agree you die as well. I mean, the damage reduction coming out from Lance is just insane. Yeah, Lance can just stay in the fight for a really, really long time, and it's just the CC coming out from the side of Team Eanix is just insane. It's so difficult for DevQ to actually go into the backlines. Even if he does, Trophies can just put away into the backlines, into the safety of Lance and Rubber Monkey.
Yeah, it's a good composition from Eanix. The Lance going for full weapon over utility is over Stormcloud Aftershock on hit build is really good, because he knows DevQ's not going to pick up any defense, or if DevQ does pick up defense, it's only going to be a block or an Aegis on Celeste, and so that his full weapon build will just do so much work. And Truffy's with the 4 completed damage items, obviously going to be ahead of DevQ with that about 15-20 CS gold lead that he's managed to accumulate just from farming slightly better in lane. I think they stole approximately the same amount from the jungle. DevQ may have even stolen more from Kurtov's jungle, but Truffy's just farming extremely well to get those items. They're going to take back extremely quickly. I don't think it needs to be known about by Impunity, because they're not going to get those items.
Yep, they will not, and the first Kraken that comes up to the fold will be taken by the side of Team Eanix. I'm not surprised if they actually could push down the Anchor Turret and both Crystal Turret with just this one Kraken. Just look at the damage coming out from that of Celeste. She's sitting on an Eve of Harvest, Frostburn, a Broken Myth, a Clockwork, and of course have an Infusion in her pocket. And on the side of DevQ, granted, she has got 4 damaging items as well, but then it is just the positioning of DevQ that makes it impossible for DevQ to get into the backlines.
Good Solar Storm engagement Celeste there, along with an Impale for Blast, and that is so much easier to Kurtov's the kill. Blast Remit is blocked fantastically by Quarterwar there, just to make sure, blocked by Kurtov's to make sure he was not killed by that. Quarterwar still with that Crucible, probably for a core collapse from Celeste. And Celeste's going to poke this target from afar. Celeste fantastic to see. Kraken is going over. Monkey will fall. Bouncing was used, but it was too late to save up Monkey's life. DevQ is on the back of Celeste. There's so much damage from Sky onto that. So Naigu does going to just boot away, block out the gauntlet, and just try and run. They're not going to be able to go. Triple kill for the Sky. DevQ, even though I said she was slightly behind on farm, managed to get the Frostburn in time for that team fight. So it was even on damage with Celeste. Still infused right now. So that infusion did not run out, even though Celeste picked up another one. So that's Aegis picked up for Glaive, and a block picked up for Sky. This is a really good position for Impunity to be in, because they were losing the team fights up until then. But as you said, the positioning from Sky was so much better in that team fight. She just waited, poked for a little bit onto Monkey, Sui striked on top of Celeste as soon as possible, and then Celeste can't do anything. She can't land the core collapse. It's not easy to do on a Sky who's got such high mobility. Solar Storm not quite going to connect. But that will not be a target going over to Impunity. They're just going to get the ace and back off.
Yeah, I think that team fight, it really went down to how hungry Eanix was for that turret. Oh, I agree that I may be caught up right now.
Taking a lot of poke DevQ with some nice broken mistakes, but Truffy is going to pick up some of his own. And yeah, they really wanted the turret because Kraken was going very low because of the high damage that DevQ has, and Kurtov's with 2 damage items does more than the utility Glaive would on Kraken, we'll put it that way. And now it's Truffy's just actually not going for the defense, going for the extra piercing spear. just to make sure that he does as much damage as possible against the Aegis from Kirchhoffs. It won't do much extra damage on DefQ, but we are expecting an Aegis on DefQ instead of 5 damage items. So Trophy's going to just deciding that Pierce is going to be worth it once Sky picks up an Aegis.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just look at the team comp itself. Trophy's is really relying on Iron Gyudai and that of a Rubber Monkey to peel for her, and there is really no reason for her to go for an extra defense if both Rubber Monkey and Iron Gyudai does a really good job, and which they did throughout the entirety of the early game. Trophies was allowed to poke for the back, although Trophy's KDA do not say much, but we did see the damage coming out from Trophy's.
Yeah, there's only 4 kills for Eanix, and this time the Kraken will be spotted out. But Gordon's going to go down, and Celeste going to pick up with the Solar Storm. That will be Celeste picking it up nice and easily. But Lance has gone down to DefQ. Gordon's going to have his afterburn blocked, and that is the block from DefQ again on that Captain Blast Drum. And that is Rubber Monkey probably going to fall here. Hasn't got a fountain, and Celeste is not in the best position. She's going to fall so much damage going down. That is going to be a free 500 gold from Impunity. Kraken was taken by the Celeste Solar Storm, but then Gyudai trying to stand on the edge. So I'm trying on the edge to make sure Celeste didn't get killed, and then he fell, and Celeste slightly out of position. Not many places she could go because of the afterburn from Kirchhoffs. But yeah, 3 gold from Impunity. I'm sure Sky doesn't even need that though. She's fully built, so I would be expecting Glaive to take as much farm as possible with only 3 damage items. Sky with 3 completed items, and Sky with 6. That's really showing how the hyper carry is kind of hurting Kirchhoffs here on this Glaive.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we are seeing DefQ on 203 CS. That is normal. It's 10 CS per minute for pro players. At least that's the expectations for them.
In the early and mid game, yeah, you don't expect 10 CS a minute once you get about 20 minutes because of these team fights that keep breaking out. And with minions not spawning when Kraken appears, your CS really does get hurt in the late game.
Yep, definitely. But then even just looking at Kirchhoffs, just sitting at 39 CS, 20 minutes in, whereas on the side of Iron Gyudai, just look at the items alone. Iron Gyudai has got so much more items as compared to that of Kirchhoffs. Kirchhoffs has got like Sorrow Blade, Poison Shiv, and
Pearl is blocked. Cordovar having to use the reflex block for that, Crucible for that actually. And Sky's going to try and push this wave in, going to try and get a time, but now Gordon's going to be thrown down. He's going to start up Trophies. Sky's not going to push the wave, going to come down and try and get a kill on the Trophies. Pale going to not land like Gyudai. He's locked in place. Blast Drum is going to land, and that is a double silence from Catherine. But they cannot quite place the engage. Kirchhoffs not going to go for the afterburn, just going to boot instead and bait out the core collapse from Celeste, and that's Celeste in a bad position. He's going to journey boots away. Celeste going to take the fountain. It won't be enough. Arda picking up the kill. But Monkey's going to die here to Sky. Now Gyudai is going to try and run for his life. He will not be able to run away from Sky, Scarf, Sky and Glaive. So that will be another ace for Impunity. As you said, the late game of Glaive and Sky is just more than the late game of this Celeste and Arden. They just can't do anything.
Yeah, because Celeste, I mean, you are really strong and you scale really well into the late game. But coming from a comp like that of Iron Gyudai, or rather the side of Eanix, where you just need to protect your Celeste, and if you're not going to do that, you're not going to peel for Celeste, you're going to have a hard time in a late game, and especially when one of your peels is actually really, really weak to that of Sky. I mean, just looking at DefQ on this Sky, DefQ picked out this Sky only because of how weak Catherine is to Sky, even throughout the early game into the late game. So I don't understand why they are now losing the team fights, because the Iron Gyudai and Rubber Monkey is starting to lose their peeling abilities. So, you know, there is no surprise at all. And Celeste's positioning, for one, is starting to get really, really bad. They are going in for another fight. Rubber Monkey's taken down to half health.
He's going to walk around the death above, still will be slowed by it though. Cordovar has got the gauntlet up, Catherine with an echo up in 2 seconds, so there is now a double silence which will be available. Gyudai going to take some poke from DefQ. DefQ going to just journey boots around trying to sort, and there's the gauntlet from Trophy's in a hold position. He's going to try and get the gauntlet to He hasn't got a block, so he's going to be stuck inside the gauntlet. So much damage from DefQ. DefQ is a nightmare, 12-0. That will be another, probably a triple kill for DefQ. And no, Gyudai is going to get away, not quite. One more basic attack from DefQ will pick up the kill. And that is an ace. They're going to go for the Kraken. They probably just push for the win here. Impunity, the death time is so long. They are just going to decide we can push for the win. And we got to the late game, our Sky got fully built, Celeste obviously without any defense, going for the piercing shard instead of going for any block or defense. Probably not the best decision in retrospect, because Celeste being caught out in the gauntlet and Kotov's just on the back line. If Celeste tried to boost where she could just get enough burden. Well played by Impunity, slightly poor positioning from Eanix.
Yeah, definitely. I think this is definitely will be game unless Celeste can pull off some magic and...
Celeste's going to get a lot of damage, but no, that will be Impunity picking up the Vayne. Lovely gauntlet again from Boulevard getting the stun. And we see the damage from Celeste, it's an awful lot, but if she's not in the right position, she's going to fall to this glaive. Even with only 2 damage items and working towards a tension bow, glaive will burst down Celeste if she hasn't got defense. So Defq played so extremely well, not dying at all, because getting that journey boots early meant that he could just get away, and actually Boulevard with the journey boots as well. So much mobility from Impunity meant they could get Eanix out of position, and just using their boots to get on top of Celeste straight away.
But what we saw on the side of Eanix, although they were winning the early game, or rather into the mid game, they only started losing after the 20th minute. We only see them with 4 kills. And really, honestly, it is quite interesting because with just 4 kills, and you can push down to all the way to the anchor turret of Impunity, that this means that how objective orientated you are. And when it comes down to team fight, you're kind of lacking, because it's quite apparent and it's evident throughout the game that whenever there is a big team fight, as long as the side of Impunity isn't caught out or isn't out-poked by the Celeste, then they definitely do win those team fights. Like that, when they were really concentrated on taking down the anchor turret, we have Defq just going in for the Celeste, and because although Celeste with the journey boots, she's supposed to be highly mobile, but as a mage, you stand there to cast, you can't quite kite and then you cast. So I do understand, and I do understand how this Celeste, if not protected, is going to lose out really badly in the late game when Defq, when Quarter4, when Kurchovs finally can get their mobility and get into the backlines, just take Celeste out, and then followed by I Angry You Die. But then a lot of it just goes down to execution. Like I said, like I really like the team comp coming up from the side of Eanix, but you know, it was really down to execution coming up from the side of Eanix. It's just a late game. They couldn't peel hard for Celeste, and had I Angry You Die just went for the tanky build, the one-hit build, probably he could have done a better job as a pillar, because honestly, as a lance, and then if you are going to protect Celeste, who is not building any shield or defense at all, then it is honestly just a better path to go for.
Yeah, the Celeste comp quite hard to do against the glaive and Sky. They just have so much mobility, can always get on top of her. And so it was an all-right draft. They did well. They got the early game, but they couldn't quite push that into a late-game lead. But now we're going to go into the second match. The draft is ready. So without further ado, let's go into the draft.
Right. So we are into the draft right now, and I think we'll see a rather standard draft throughout the game. In the first game, we saw Lara, Vox, Idris, and Baron banned out. Basically, 90% of whatever that's banned out is just weapon carries. I don't think the side of Eanix or even the side of Impunity would try to risk that kind of ban again. The first ban would probably not be Lyra, it would probably be Sky. Then the side of Impunity probably would want to play that Catherine. If not Catherine, then probably Lyra.
Yeah, Impunity putting a lot of emphasis on Sky. They first picked it last game, first ban it this game. That's probably because they think Catherine is an extremely strong captain at the moment. With that Blast Tremor, with Echo build that most Catherines tend to go, you have so much ability to just stop the enemy doing anything. If they have a Crystal Mage, you can just stop them casting their abilities, and they're just so squishy they're going to close out. And the counter to banning Sky is banning Catherine.
And I'm not surprised if we actually do see a Baron being picked up here because of how...
I don't think they pick it. No, I don't think they first picked Baron. We saw in the last game Baron wasn't first picked, even though there was a Catherine on the enemy team. Baron can be countered. As you said, if you go Idris, we saw that Crystal Ringo can counter Baron if it's played correctly, but they are going to go for it. So they're giving away their composition. It's going to be a Baron and a Protector and probably a Stormcloud Aftershock jungler. So this is countable by Eanix, but they're going to have to draft quite well to do it.
Yeah.
I'd like to see an Idris picked up just to see, because it's going to get banned away if they don't pick it. And so it's just so good into Baron. If you play it correctly, you can use your ultimate to try and dodge out a lot of his damage, and you can put your own damage on top of him.
For an
Maybe
odd reason, I think they are going to go for Fox for some odd reason, or they are just going to take away the Arden from the side of Impunity, or they are actually going to go for Grace. So we are seeing the first Grace pickup in this week. But although we've seen a lot of Graces in the past week, not a lot of Graces have kind of been outstanding, providing the pills that Grace can. Or we saw a lot of the heals, but not a lot of pills that Grace can provide.
Yeah, it's quite hard to land that Holy Nova on Grace because it's such a long cast time and quite a small range. So most people can either walk out of it, or especially Baron can jump jets out of your Holy Nova before it's got a chance to stun them. I think they might like to ban Arden here. They banned Catherine, they picked Grace. Arden, or maybe even Lyra, because Lyra works really well with Baron, trying to stop his early game. The fact that he's lost early game, and they're going to ban Arden. Arden with the Vanguard on Baron to give so much, so much peel to help Baron get out of a tough situation with that extra movement speed. Baron with such low movement speed, they really need that. Again, I'd like to see Idris banned away again because it's a really good second pick on Team B, and they're so unlikely to pick Idris themselves that they're basically giving it over if they want to play it, and they're going to ban Glaive instead. We saw how strong Weapon Power Glaive was in the last game, so they just don't want to play against it. Glaive, another good flex pick, so they don't have to give away their competition.
Yep, definitely. But I hope Eanix would actually pick out this Idris. Like you said, Idris it's quite a good check. Oh, we actually do see an Idris being picked up. I mean, Idris is just such a good check into Baron. It's not a direct counter per se, but it checks Baron pretty well. I think to answer the Idris pickup on the side of Eanix, Impunity might actually just go for that Lyra just to boost the Baron's movement speed and just to reposition. And of course, the Bright Ball going up against Idris.
Yeah, Lyra really good at countering Idris, and also there was a composition of Lyra, Grace, Idris, which is really strong to we play on hit Grace and roam Lyra, but they're going to go for an off meta Fortress. I'd like to see that as a captain as opposed to as a Crystal Power jungler, because Crystal Power jungle path getting slight nerfs in a couple of matches ago, so it's not really that good. Yeah. And you can counter it really well. Like Batiste can do so well. You can get stacks off his wolves, and you can ordain him so he can't jump on top of you. When you ordain the fortress, take out his wolves and re-engage, and you pretty much win the fight. They're going to go Lance. They are going to go for that Crystal Fortress. It's risky. They probably have practice on the Crystal Fortress, but as I said, Batiste could go really well here. Or they could go for that Lyra and try the heal the Idris comp, because Baron generally doesn't build Poison Shiv, so you're forcing him to go off meta build if you go for that double heal comp. Fortress with Mortal Wounds will be alright, but they're still thinking about what to pick. I think they might also could go for Samuel. Samuel can work against Fortress, but Fortress with so much dive, you pretty much can't pick Taka or Kestrel because you are quite hard countered by Fortress. Once he pops his wolves, you can just you can just if you go invisible, you're going to be spotted out. So there's not much you can do about that. Oh, Luxuria appears to be not quite with us, so it's going to be interesting to see what they pick. Alpha actually would work really well here, thinking about it, because Alpha can get courtyard stacks of Fortress's walls that they manage to back off in time. Alpha with her infinite reboot, meaning the Baron can't burst her down. You can't burst an Alpha. She'll either just use her ultimate, and then you have to run away from her without trying to burst her down. Baron does not want to use his jump gets to run away. He wants to use it to engage and to burst someone down. You can't burst down an Alpha, it doesn't work. She has 2 lives. With a Grace, you definitely can't burst down Alpha. She essentially gets 3 lives with that extra healing that Grace has. So yeah, they have quite a lot of good options, but it's really going to be about countering this Fortress, not letting themselves get hard engaged on by the Fortress and Baron. That is a competition really. If you get jumped on by it, you're going to die so quickly. There won't even be any business. And they are going to go for the Alpha. That makes me feel happy. I do like Alpha in this against this Baron. But the problem with picking this Alpha is they're almost definitely going to lose the early game. Alpha with such a weak early game at level 1, she clears jungle about as slow as Taka does, really, with only a core charge up every couple of seconds. So if Alpha can farm up to level 6, Fortress generally doesn't invade the jungle until level 6 because he needs his attack of the pack to really turn the team fight in your favor. So Alpha could have a good chance at farming up until level 6, but it's going to be if Fortress can invade and Lance can stop Alpha farming up well, that might force Idris to rotate down, and it just will lose CS in lane, and that could lead to Baron snowballing Idris if Alpha can't farm up in the jungle and Idris has to try and help her out. But with that, we are now going to be going into the game. I believe, hopefully, Azurai is going to be here to help me cast this game. Azurai, are you ready for this one?
Yes, I am here, man. So
lovely.
Yeah. All right. So can you actually do that? Like, let's go into the game.
The game is being loaded.
I just love it when you say that.
So without further ado, let's go into the game.
Yes, thank you. I love it. All right. So hi guys, I'm gonna be filling in for Luxuria while he is out for a while. Yeah. So I was actually looking. I thought it was gonna be like a Batiste pick here for, I believe, A-Team's Impunity, right?
Yes, Impunity.
Yeah, I really thought that would be like the answer for it, but yeah, understand. My understanding, I'm not really that well versed with the Fortress. What was the thought process behind this, man?
Fortress is, I think they wanted to make sure that Taka wasn't picked up. Taka was a really good counter to Baron because he can kite in over the Baron double shot. He gets nice jump jets. And
hold on, that thought. Quarterbar gonna go actually aggressive here with the lance. It's gonna be Eanix with good amounts of damage, and they're just gonna charge it in. Quarterball has to back away, but Def Q was actually dried out here by his teammates, and he will get shut down. Good start here for Eanix. And then Impunity have to go for the exit out. Kirchhoff's gotta be defensive here. You gotta be careful here, even though that is a Grace. He doesn't know where the other members of Eanix will be. And yeah, so it's gonna be first blood for Eanix.
That is such a good start for Eanix. Alpha with quite a weak early game, but they know that obviously Def Q and Kirchhoff's on Baron and Fortress do not want to fight. They both want to hit level 2 as well. And with Idris having quite a lot of damage, he went for the Book of Eulogies and Weapon Blade to start. He has so much damage. Alpha going about as defensive as you can, just going for double defense and some potions. So Alpha just doesn't want to die, and it makes a lot of sense. If you can tank up on Alpha, you have a lot of base damage with the true damage from your core charge when you get some stacks on that. So now Alpha's going to pick up towards Aftershock Broken Myth, but no, she's actually going to come to lane try and just stop Def Q farming. If they can do that, they'll be in a good position. The fight might be breaking out here.
Yeah, true that, but it looks like they're just going to go dive in all day long onto Def Q, make this Baron not be effective from range, just going as aggressive as they can. But of course, it's just the laning phase. They're going to be not too overly aggressive, but still put on the pressure. Def Q going to be going to the jungle and maybe get the last hits here from Kirchhoff or just absorb some XP. Either or, he's just going to stay away from the lane.
Yeah, gonna try and get some ambient gold so that he is farmed up nicely. But Trophies has absolutely horrible wave clear. It just can't clear minions quickly until he picks up a couple of items. He's now going to port home to get towards that. It's so important that he can push the wave, he can control the wave well against this Baron. Because if he can't, if he's forced to keep the wave on his side and can't push it under turrets, if Baron loses CS when he rotates to jungle, then Idris will be losing out to Baron in the late game. Idris doing well, just farming up as he needs to, and Hyundai not going to invade by himself against this Kirchhoff's with the Storm Crown on Fortress. He's really good at clearing minions quickly, and they're going to contest over this mid Shrine. Picked up probably by Hyundai there.
Yeah, they're going to start fighting, but Quarterval actually left by Kirchhoff's. I mean, this is going to be somewhat of a tanky Lance, but not tanky enough, and that is a Grace plus Alpha combo. Nice knockback. That one gets the stun as well, but the chase is just too real. You also saw that Trophy's going to be onto the sidelines, just in case that Lance gets a bit too far from his teammates. So it's really Eanix just, putting on the pressure, like they said, and this early game is starting to snowball a little bit to their hands. Look at that 1.3k advantage already.
Yeah, Alpha doing very well to win this early game. It's hard to do. It's definitely possible. As we're seeing, Alpha does have quite a lot of damage if she's allowed to get those core charge stacks off and is not able to. It's not being fallen, but lovely chakrams from Chuffy's forcing a potion from Deku and the jump jets away. But Monkey in lane just keeping sure that Deku is not able to farm, having to. But when Deku rotates to jungle, Chuffy's just pushes the lane in. They're going to pick up that mid-tree and try and keep nice and healthy in lane. Alpha just farming up, so is Idris. So it's actually almost a 2k gold lead for, sorry, a 1.5k gold lead for Eanix. So it's going extremely well for them. Bow's going to jump this in, try and get some damage to Stuffies, but just going to farm up one thing instead.
Still, this Lance is going to be holding hands with Deku for the meantime. Kerchop's here to the sidelines, and they're going to be spotting on Rubber Monkey. Goes trying to back away, does get some shields up. It's the connection onto the sun, and he will be able to get away. Nice connection there onto the Holy Nova. He almost got the grace, but not this day, buddy. Not this day. Oh.
And Deku's going to jump jets away. Angry not going to go in. He's not going to have to tower for it. He's got a core charge up and time directive up now, but the Truffy's going to go for it. He's going to get that barrier with that shroud step roll. Deku's going to boot away under tower. Angry has got the time directive. Doesn't want to risk it. He's not going to go for it, and they're just going to push this wave in. Baron has ported home, so that's going to be quite a lot of CS lost. Baron picking up his Sword Blade, and that is IQ Die going onto this turret. That turret made for lovely dodge from Truffy's on Idris, and that turret, first turret will go down, pushing this 2k gold lead to about 3k gold lead for Eanix. Extremely good for an alpha, disastrous again for a Baron.
Yep.
Insane start for Eanix. Oh, hello.
Hi, and I'm back. Well, thank you for standing for me, Asurai. I fixed all the problems that I'm experiencing, so I'm back. Well, a big thank you to you again.
I'll be back. Yep.
All right. Cheers, mate. All right, so I'm back. I'm back now, and all things is running. I've stopped touching my wires, and my things are finally working. So it's a good thing. So we see a turret down for the side of Impunity. I was actually expecting the early game to be really weak because of the Fortress pickup, and because I got out of voice in the last minute, and I was. The alpha pickup on the side of I Agree with Die is kind of unexpected for me at least, because we saw this comp coming out before using the alpha to actually counter that of Baron, and it was done to a really good extent, and just the side of Impunity just do not have that good comp going against this Lyra per se, because Kerchop's on this Fortress would actually have to wait till level 6 before he has Attack of the Pack, and even then it is up to them to how to engage, because we have Lance actually
but he may trade his life for that steal. Definitely he's going to try and get damage onto IQ Die. They are annoyed. Eanix, they didn't spot the Lance out. I think it would have been smart for Truffles to engage on the Lance before the gold mine was low, so then they forced Lance to either back away or die and then finish off the gold mine. But there's a bit of gold going over to Impunity. This is what they need. One Monkey going in under turret, but he has got that holy shield, so we'll be fine tanking a couple of turret shots. And now Anguda are going to get some core charge stacks. Defu's not going to quite port home. Truffy's is going to farm that lane. Truffy's with that Sword Blade now does have a blink on his shroud step. So Fortress tries to jump in, or Defu does jump in. Truffy's can get away quite quickly. Anguda are going to try and steal this midway and will almost definitely get it. Fortress going for the Stormcrown Aftershock build as expected. When they picked the Baron immediately, I said they're giving away their composition is going to be a captain and a Stormcrown Aftershock jungler. And so Eanix could just know that and just try and counter it, and they've done quite well. It's just good into Baron, and so is Alpha, and they don't really need to worry about the Fortress. There's shield on Alpha, but there's just weapon power defense on Truffy's and tier 2 weapon power defense on Alpha anyway, because they're so worried about Baron, and because there's not a carry in the jungle, it's more of a support in the jungle. They don't need to worry about that damage as much, so they can just get defense on Baron and build up damage of their own.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the pickup on the side of the Alpha pickup, or rather the Idris pickup into an Alpha is just such a strong counter, or it checks Baron so well, especially in the early game. Like I said before, Alpha just needs the first Aftershock to actually do really well against Baron, as long as you land your Prime Directive. And And on the side of Impunity, like we saw in the previous game, they were also in the back lines for the early to the mid game, because they just played a rather late comp. So honestly, I'm not.
It's just Alpha is a composition that works so well. I've played it quite a lot because Alpha, I just love to see Alpha being played. I think she's really good, but she's quite well countered. She's quite easily countered, to be fair. And so you don't want to pick her up every game, which is unfortunate because I do like to see Alpha being played. But the dive coming out from an Idris Alpha comp was really good a couple of patches ago. And now that Grace has come out, Grace with probably the longest ranged targeted ability in the game, I think, where she could just I thought, well, there's a fight going to break out. Alpha's not in the best position. She is away from her team, and that will be a stun out of her prime direction. Coming to try and help. Defu is going low. Alpha can use that damage protocol and will easily become the kill onto Baron. Touchdown's going to try and run away. That's the problem with the Hyper Carry comp. If the carry goes down, you don't have any damage. Kershov's going to he spotted out while she's trying to reboot, going to boot towards those minions. And Anguda is going to probably just pick up the backs. He's going to actually go for the kill onto Kershov. Not quite going to be able to pick it up, but that will be Lance going down to Idris, and so Anguda is going to have to run away with that Crystal Sentry, but might even try and take it with Rob Monkey now rotating the Baron. Has been spawned, so it's going to be risky, but I think Anguda is going to take the Sentry. Defu cannot really contest, but going to try to get some Porcupine Mortars down, and they may stop Alpha. Alpha's going to go in, trying used by Fortress. Anguda going to get a lovely advantage, mentioned 400 heals, and Fortress is now on her. Idris solo the goal line while this happened, and Alpha's just trying to do what she can. Lovely Holy Nova, but Kershov is going to pick up the kill. That is a double kill for Impunity. They turned the fight around. Alpha's staying a little bit late, but she decided that there's a sentry. I want to take this down. We know Idris can solo the gold mine, so we're going to take the sentry, and we're just going to see if we can stop the turret falling. It's just now going to be back in lane. Atlas on Alpha. I think it's a good call against most heroes. Not the best decision against the Baron. Baron obviously not actually building a breaking point. So Baron with attack speed. And Idris doing so much damage. Now Defu pretty much falling. Fountain's going to have to be used. Joffies is now going low though. He will actually get the kill on Defu. He'll trade his life for that. And that is showing that Idris counters the Baron. He can just dive in. If Idris can trade 1-for-1 against this Baron, Eanix are in a fantastic position because they have a carry on Alpha against the Storm Crown Aftershock on Fortress, so they will easily win that. And yeah, so that's Idris just showing his might, being able to dive onto Baron, force the Fountain, and still trade his life for the without a Fountain use from Rubber Monkey. And again, with Rubber Monkey without Divine Intervention, just so much healing onto Idris. Baron has like no chance to try and burst Idris down before Idris can kill Baron. And then Alpha should be free on the back line once she picks up that broken myth. Actually going for much more of a tank utility build as opposed to a broken myth. So yeah, Alpha just should be a powerhouse in the late game. Even if Idris dies, Alpha can clean up the kills. So I do really like the draft from Eanix, and they've played it smartly. I think I'm going to be joined by Azurai. Is Azurai here? Hopefully is ready to cast with me again. With some slight problems for Luxuria.
I am here. Can you hear me? There's gonna be a huge clash here into the jungle. Oh, they're gonna be chasing down. Look at that Baron just go in, activates the infinite reboot from the Alpha, and that's gonna be a hero kill. Although Rubber Monkey is sticking like paste onto Defu, but still that won't matter because you're flying a little bit too close to the sun, Grace, and that's gonna be an ace for Impunity.
Yeah, slightly poor positioning from Eanix there. Alpha diving on Baron, Idris backing away. Just let Baron build up 20 breaking point stacks pretty much near the end of the fight. And with this build on Baron, he's because they're against an Alpha, you're going to get a lot of breaking point stacks. Because Alpha can, once she's in reboot, you're going to try and kill her. And even if you don't kill the Alpha in reboot, you're just going to get breaking point stacks off that. And so Alpha now picking up a bit more damage because she needs to be able to kill Defu on her own, even if it just isn't there. And with only an Aftershock and a piercing Aftershock and a piercing charge, she's not going to be able to do that by herself yet. She really needs that full broken myth before Angudai can actually kill Baron in a 1v1.
It's going to be very difficult for them. Impunity's defense is pretty good on point. Quarter ball has been such a good front line for the meantime. And hold that thought. I think it was the activation of the Alpha's charge. He's going to go aggressive. Mortal Wounds connected onto the Grace. And look at that. That's just the range coming in from Death Q. Alpha's charging in, Truffy's charging in as well. He's got to be careful. Goes in with the AoE heals, and Court of War was left out. My goodness, that was Impunity being just dived in one after the other, and DefQ could not handle.
Yeah, Eanix doing good dives there, Alpha with a prime directive, searching for a target, not quite getting it over the wall, but to initiate the fight, that prime directive is so useful. It forces a jump jets from Baron, and then you can just use your core charge. And Derek Kirchhoff's going to be slightly after Idris force it. It's going to do so much damage onto Kirchhoff. He wants to get the kill. We'll pick it up with that retribution. DefQ going to force the fountain out, and Alpha's going to go in again. Take a lot of damage.
Charging in, there's going to be the use of the ultimate from Angry You Die. DefQ has to back away. He is on such low HP, but Court of War, double man stun. Will DefQ capitalize? And that's just going to be the 1-for-1 trade. They do lose Kirchhoff's, but in the end, it is Eanix a little bit too greedy on that one. They do have at least heals for the HP to do so. Shram comes out from Truffy. He will be trying to chase down, gets the shutdown onto Court of War. One more, and Angry will get an ace.
Idris just playing so superbly. We'll put home just before the Wolves come to try and stop him. Those Wolves running towards the base to try and catch Idris, and out they'll get there in time. And Truffy's just using that Shimmer Strike to dive on top of Court of War, get the kill, do so much damage onto DefQ that one shotgun hit was enough. He managed to just survive the double shot from Baron. Even though Baron's now picked up 4 damage items, I don't think he had anywhere near that in that last team fight. And Truffy's is actually going to pick up a Slumbering Husk. That's a... I don't generally like Husk against the Baron because you can he's just going to get one shot on you, then he's going to pop the Husk and you're going to be in trouble. But in this particular comp, because Idris is all about just diving on the Baron, kill him, and then focus on whoever's left, and whoever's left happens to be Fortress and Lance in this case. But because Baron is going to be jump jetsing away and it's going to get the double shot onto Idris immediately, Slumbering Husk is a really good idea on Idris in this game because he can tank that double shot from Baron, and the tank attack's going to be used. I'm kind of going to try and steal it, and that will be picked up by Idris. Going to pick up the back end. If he wants to try and steal it, Cordova's going to have the boots away. They cannot fight. Baron's actually going to pick up a Husk as well. Money, and you are back. Hello.
Yes, I am. A little bit of issues on my side, but still, that Baron is going to be pushing for the side here of Eanix, and that's just going to, well, make a little bit of safety for them to push this into a 1-for-1 if I'm not mistaken. Wall and Kirchhoff's not really doing the best right now. I mean, this part of has been, being a good front line, but not going to be enough.
Right. So there seems to be mic issues for all the casters here, except for Mini Mike.
Break out. I'm just going to talk about what's happening. Argue that's going to have to use his prime directive. Try and get the 10 minutes smoke onto Baron. It's not quite going to land. We'll get that ult to Kirchhoff, and that is Idris just diving in. He's going to fall to Baron. The Fountain and the Divine Intervention was not enough. Bum Monkey's going to die as well here. But Alpha's going to get the prime directive onto the turret. Bum Monkey will fall. Anku going to try and get close to Kirchhoff. Won't do enough. He's just going to dive for Steph. You're going to miss the prime directive. Triple kill for Baron. And this will be a Kraken falling. We'll get the Vayne turret. But that is probably not what they wanted. Not what Eanix wanted. They didn't quite dive onto Baron at the same time. It was kind of Idris Alpha going in, the Ninjas going in. They weren't coordinated. But that is a Husk picked up for Rubber Monkey, and one going to be picked up for DefQ pretty soon. He's actually picked up a bit more damage with the gold that he had, and it just actually go just full glass cannon. He's going to use his Shroud Step barrier and use his Shimmer Strike invulnerability to try and survive instead of going for defense, which is so risky. I like to see 4 damage items on Idris. I don't generally like to see 5 because you need to dive in, so you need to sustain. But he's decided to just leave that. Alpha still needs to get a broken beard. Probably pick it up if she gets his beard funds, but she will not. She's going to go for the Atlas and Full Metal Jacket and an Infusion. What a build on Iron Gudai. He's deciding that I don't need damage, I just need defense. I will kill Baron with my Aftershock if I have enough time to do so. So he's just going to get 2 double defense. You don't see that a lot on Alpha. You see it on more tanky sustain heroes like Crystal Glaive. You might see double weapon power defense.
Yeah.
Quarterfire actually picking up Crystal Power, which is a really good idea because there's no Crystal Power defense on anyone except Rubber Monkey with that fountain. So this Shadow Glass Quarterfire is probably going to pick up will do a lot of damage on his Impale.
you would think that, for the side of Eanix, they are so far ahead that, Rubber Monkey on this Gwen would Rubber Monkey on this Grace would just pick up
gank here. Let's see what's gonna happen. Idris is gonna back away. He's gonna try and hide with his team. Eanix is gonna find someone out. They're gonna be spotted out. Nephew is not gonna be caught out. There's actually a double stop, but there's a water issue. Nephew is gonna jump. So he's gonna jump over the wall with his jump jets. And Chuck is going to try Boots with, but he's not going to be able to get on top of Death here. They're going to have to focus on the Fortress. That's Icon about. Lots of damage. Alpha's going to try and react him in. That's so much over the bounds. But there's Giant Adventure to keep Idris nice and healthy. Alpha doing lots of work, even with pretty much no damage, because Baron hasn't got any defense. So Kotop's going to run away towards Sentry. Just get Eanix as far away from his turrets as he can. Fortress with so much movement speed, he may actually be able to get away for quite a while. That'd be divine. Holy Nova not landing, but now there's the trophies, there's a roof not quite by the tree, and the Control's going to use the attack of the pack. Sentry's going to pick up the kill with one shot. Alpha going for the Kraken by herself, smart decision not to stay with her team, and they're not going to push for the win. Fortress doing so well there to make sure he ran as far away from the towers as possible, so they're only going to get the Kraken, but it's all going to be about how well they can push this. Either get a good fight and they will be able to win the game, but we saw the last Kraken, they only got one turret because Baron doing so much damage there. It's going to be tough. Grace now with an Atlas Potion of her own, so they're really just going to try and counter this breaking point on Baron with just 2 Atlas Potions.
Yeah, we actually do see that this Baron isn't going for the really meta build like that of Sorrowblade into Tension Bow. I think for going Sorrowblade in Tension Bow, it's a really strong build on the side for Baron, only because you need an extra piercing on Tension Bow, that's firstly, and the initial burst for after you jump jets in and you do your damage, it's quite large to actually just deny the building of Tension Bow. I mean, it is just a 4% buff on Tension Bow. Oh, they are actually looking for a fight now.
Truffy's taking a lot of damage on from Defky there. Defky sold his boots to get it to weapon blade, so he's a bit immobile, but he's going to do so much damage. Iron Cannon's going to come down. Truffy's going to link away, but will not be able to get the barrier, so he's going to back off. Baron's going to burst this Kraken down. Only no one Truffy's will get stunned out by the Lance. That was Cordoba stunning Grace out of her finest dimension there, so that's going to be one turret for the Kraken, and that's all Eanix can get. They've got 2 Krakens, and from each of them they got 1 turret, because it's too much damage from Defky on this Baron. Impunity can kill Kraken so quickly that she's not going to get many turrets. And actually, Eanix have a horrible Kraken pushing comp. They have a great team fight comp. They will win the team fights, as they have been doing, but they cannot push a Kraken at all. And now Angry Udai just needs to get needs to watch with that broken myth. I still think that Alpha with only this piercing shard for damage isn't going to do that much. Even though Baron's not got any defense, if Alpha had a broken myth, this team might be going over so much quicker.
You know, honestly, just looking at how Def Q is walking from the lane into his jungle is just so funny, because he's...
Take your time, Baron. Don't flash yourself, mate. Like, we'll all wait.
Just look at him.
You have a Fortress with a Packmate's heroic perk to give him extra movement speed, and then you have Baron with the slowest hero in the game without boots. He's going for that Tension Bow last night instead of getting boots, but he's now jumped on. He's only got jumping to get away, but that's Tony Nova, and that's hit on top of Baron. Give him a strike, secure that kill. Tony Nova just to make sure 800 heal. Fortune's going to try and run away. He will not be able to. Duffy's going to just dive onto corner bar Alpha here, just getting onto Kerchoffs. Angry Udai full half health with a reboot. Kerchoffs has no chance of doing the damage he needs, only with an Aftershock Storm Cannon and a lonely Crystal Bit. Angry Udai going to pick up the kill with the core charge, not worrying about missing a prime directive, just going to core charge for the win. That will be... Kerchoffs almost sustaining, he's just going for the turrets. He has so much damage, he will be able to get this probably before he dies. One of us going to try and get the impale, but he's going to die. Lovely play from Truffy. He's baiting out the turret and almost falling. Grace can now tank this for so long. Grace even with a slumbering husk if the turret does too much damage. Baron's not going to spawn in time. Holy no, but Divine Intervention onto Truffy's, and that will be game 2 going over to Eanix.
Yeah, I mean, that was an interesting game to watch. I mean, granted, I wasn't here for half the game because of how broken my mic is, but I think I've got that all figured out. I downloaded the latest drive and all. But back to this game, I personally thought that the side of Impunity, had they not picked up this Fortress, they could have worked better with the Baron comp. Only because I personally don't think that Baron Fortress is a really good. It doesn't synergize well with that of Baron, and that is one of the more difficult parts, because if you are going to go for a Fortress, then both of your carries are kind of late game, and you cannot even consider Fortress a carry because he lacks the damage. Unlike Alpha, who can just build like an Aftershock and on all defense, as a Fortress you can't quite do that because you just don't have like the natural damage from your skills like that of Alpha. But anyways, it is a good game. It is well played to the side of Eanix, finally actually just taking down Impunity and showing to the viewers that Baron is not broken at all. There is no need to ban Baron. You can just go for the Alpha and Idris comp.
Not like every rank game. Maybe leave like a couple of rank games where Baron is that's all you need.
Yep. But I mean, just looking at the Trophies build, early on he wasn't doing that great on the Celeste, whereas on this Idris, he seems just a little more comfortable, just going for full red and 1 war threat, and other items are just all damage and just sustaining. He's just in the back lines, relying on Grace and Alpha to tank up and soak up a lot of the damages.